Good evening, everyone. This will now begin the September 16th meeting of the Committee on Public Safety, and we have two issues before us which we'll be discussing. Will everyone please rise and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll take a roll call of the committee. It's here. Councilor Correggio? Here. Councilor Hess? Here. And also, I'm the chairman, so that makes a quorum. Also in attendance is Councilor Patch, Councilor Penta, and Councilor Novoselsky. We are going to take one of the issues out of place, and we're going to ask Councilor Novoselsky to address the council regarding that particular issue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is an address at 473 Revere Beach Parkway, which is at the base of Hillside Avenue. If anybody's been on the parkway, they've seen a house that was recently demolished, and it's an open lot right now. The lot is zoned as a general business, so he is allowed to go up 50 feet. And what he's doing is building a 4-story facility with 8 units, single one-bedroom units. And part of the parking, he has 16 parking spaces, so he's allowed, 2 spaces per apartment. But 8 of the units are under the building, is shown right now. And and 8 units are outside, so the fire chief would like to have a 148 license applied to this location. Joe,
I believe this is the
just started talking about
proponent.
You. Yes.
Just the podium, please state your name and address.
Joseph Hart. Joseph Hart, I'm the developer. I reside at 39 George Avenue in Revere.
Continue, please.
We've already received permit approval from the building department, as well as approval from the fire department. And it is only for storage of passenger vehicles. They're going to make all their turns onto the driveway so that they will have a better entry and exit onto Revere Beach Parkway than the pre-existing structure. Before they used to back out right onto the parkway. Now they're going to turn inside the garage and the driveway so they'll see the traffic better. And the building does have a full automatic sprinkler system, and there's not going to be any other storage other than the vehicles.
That's your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to councilors now. The ward councilor, Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we had special meetings several months ago on this. He's not required to have any variances on the property. He's meeting all the requirements under GB zoning. And like I said, the fire chief would like 148 for the 8 spaces under the building. There's 8 spaces outside the building, and they drive down the ramp, so they won't be backing out like the other house used to do it. So they'll actually be driving out, and it'll be open to view for people coming down Hillside Ave or up the Revere Beach Parkway for a safety factor. I did hear from several of the residents last week of their concerns, and I told them just what I said about the view coming down Hillside Ave and up the Parkway. And we're going to have another meeting afterwards so he can explain, to some of the residents what's going on. And I try to make them feel comfortable that he's willing to even put. If you've seen some of these garages where they have a pad where the flasher goes off when the car's coming down the ramp, he's willing to put in one of those little strobe lights on the side of the building so everybody could see it, that somebody's coming down the driveway. And also he's willing to put in speed bumps so people don't fly out of the building. So I think he's trying to make everything right. He built a building on Beach Street of what had burnt down, and he rebuilt that. And we have 3 families living in there now. I never hear boo from them. They have a nice facility. They go to 148 there because they have parking underneath their building. So whether or not the people wanted to see a 50-foot building there is another thing. But, I told him, unfortunately, he's doing it by right. And the only thing he really needs from this city council is a 148 license. And I know some of the councilors had some comments on it last week. And it is what it is at this point. So, I have no problem with it. And I know he's still trying to work with the neighbors and try and make things right. And I'm sure even after he gets this, he'll be working with them to do the right thing again. Okay, so that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Novoselsky. Councilor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John, right?
Joseph Hart.
Joseph, the only reason you're here is because of the 148 license, which
Yes.
is the storage of flammable liquid within the auto.
Yes, that is correct. Everything else was permitted by right, by what we are allowed under the current zoning to build.
Okay. I have had 2 calls, and what they're really concerned with is going up Revere Beach Parkway and taking the right at Hillside Ave. And just when they were doing some demolition work there, the people up above had a problem negotiating that curve. Are you going to hopefully resolve that problem by dealing with the city as far as the corner of Revere Beach Parkway and Hillview Ave?
Yes, sir. What we did was during the demolition, we did hire Revere Police Department for full-day details during the demolition. We will do that by State Police and Revere Police during the construction phase. But following the completion, the building is going to be set back 22 feet further back than the pre-existing structure. So the building before, the 3 families sat right on the edge. And I believe that may be the legacy of concern that some of those neighbors have.
You're exactly right.
So this building is going to actually sit 22 feet further back, and it's not going to have any parking in front. It's going to be landscape, and that's why we need the Chapter 148 license to park underneath the building and not have vehicles in front or backing out onto the parkway. So if they were aware of the intended plan, they would feel, as Councilman Novoselsky says, they would be assured and comforted that it's going to be a far better solution.
All right. That's the issue, making that right turn, which is sharp at the present time, by you putting all of your autos, 8 parking spaces
Yes.
beneath it.
Yes, sir.
Now, how many units is this?
It's going to be 8 one-bedroom apartments.
8.
Yes.
Where are you going to allow the parking if someone has husband and wife cars?
There is additional room for another 8 spots on
the property?
On the property in the rear, not on the parkway. So
Okay.
all of the residents and neighbors that need to make that turn up and down Hillside Avenue, they're actually going to have a lot more room, and they're not going to have any cars obstructing them.
Okay. Thank you. Very good.
Thank you, Councilor Haas. Councilor Correggio.
Thank you, Chairman Powers. Just a couple of questions for information purposes. You said there's going to be 8 units.
Yes.
Were they 2-bedroom units?
They're single bedroom.
Single bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. The other question I had was sewer and drainage. Are you going to upgrade sewerage and drainage in the area down there?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we've Our civil engineer, Mr. Rick Salvo, has had both plans and conversations with Director Donnie Goodwin and with City Engineer Nick Rystrom to upgrade the drainage for that whole area. In fact, not only we accepted responsibility for inheriting the problem that was at the bottom of the hill, but we are working with Mr. Goodwin and Mr. Rystrom to find a solution to resolve that once and for all at our expense.
And my last question is on the landscaping, far as paving and sidewalk. Will they be cement sidewalks? As Councilor Haas says, they're trying to negotiate a turn, so there'll be some reconstruction of sidewalk and street work there?
Yes, any curbing, sidewalk, and paving is going to be meeting the city's new ordinances. And we've done that as far back as 2008, where sidewalks that we've placed have been with granite curbing and concrete to the city's specifications. So that will continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Correggio.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, one additional
Councilor
thing.
Novoselsky.
I just want people to be reassured that, Dr. Hart is there to work with folks. He's not trying to shove anything down anybody's throat. Now, one thing that, I'll bring up to his attention right now is during the construction phase, to make sure that the construction vehicles don't park on that side of Hillside Ave so that people are able to take the turn and not get any static from any of the construction guys. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Novoselsky. Councilor Penta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilor Haas asked most of the questions I want to ask. And I'll just make one small statement. All this is, if the cars didn't have gasoline tanks in them, you wouldn't need this 148 permit. And I've been saying this for 20 years, that I don't know why it comes in front of us. The fire department signed off on it. It seems to me like he went far and beyond a lot of things that you had to do, and you already have all the improvements except for this, and I don't see a problem with it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Penta. Councilor Patch.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I'm all set. I think he fulfills all the requirements necessary. Thank you. I
feel comfortable with this. The thing that excites me is that it's development, and they're one-bedroom units, so they're not extending into our school system. They're not intrusive into our school system. And I just have one question. The fire department signed off on these. Are there any where you're going to be storing 8 cars under a building? Am I correct?
Yes.
Are there any fire suppression systems that are required to be installed?
What we did is we worked with fire prevention, Mr. Maniff, to satisfy his requirements and his suggestions. So, yes, it's going to have a full automatic sprinkler systems with heat detectors, with carbon monoxide detectors. They're going to be all wired into central station, and there'll be all the fire prevention will be to 2013 codes. It'll have the 2008, the 8th edition amendment to those life safety systems.
Okay. Well, that was one thing that did concern me. Where you have people living above it, that you'd want to have proper fire suppression systems.
And it will have the fire barrier walls as recommended by code.
Okay, I'm going to ask the members of the committee that are here. Councilor Giannino, did you have any questions?
I believe that all the other councilors addressed some of the main concerns that I had and that I was contacted about, so I'm pretty comfortable. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask the committee to vote on this now. Councilor Correggio.
Yes.
Councilor Haas. Yes. And the chair votes yes, and this will be reported out this evening favorably to the full City Council. Thank you, sir, for your attendance.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda are some amendments to an original motion, an ordinance that the state police requiring with regard to fingerprinting of certain individuals getting licenses in the city, such as vendors on ice cream trucks, taxi drivers, and that type. And I think they're good amendments, particularly because they are recommended by the state police. And I've looked them over, and I'd like to ask my colleagues if they've had a chance to look them over, because I'd like to take this up for a vote this evening. Councilor Correggio?
Thank you. I agree 100% with the amendments. I think it gives the police another tool to better enforce our ordinances and our laws, where we can update like other cities and towns, like there is. So I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Correggio. Councilor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, for one, are 100% behind this. We talk about ice cream trucks in the general area, and anyone that deals with the youth of our community, I think we have to protect them, and this is a good means, basically fingerprinting them. So I will be supporting this later on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Correggio. Councilor Giannino.
Thank you. This is something that I also support 100%, and I believe when Sergeant Giannino spoke to us the last time we met about this, he answered a lot of questions that we may have had regarding the ordinance, so I think it's definitely a really good one for interest of public safety. Thank you.
Are there any other councilors? Councilor Pinto?
No, Mr. Chairman, I agree wholeheartedly with it.
And Councilor Patch? I am going to move to accept this, but I want to just say one thing before I do, that you know, you can't be too careful today. You pick up the newspaper every day and you read about missing children, exploited children, people going into neighborhoods and finding out that there's a problem after they've left and having no idea who those people are. And so I think this is fingerprinting. It's excellent. At least we have a database, and I'm sure that will not only go into the state police database, but also into the federal database, so that in the event, unfortunately, that something does happen, we'll be able to identify that person right away, within 24 hours, and trace that person and put a stop to anything that may have been intended to go wrong. So again, I'm going to ask the committee to vote on this evening. Councilor Correggio.
Yes.
Councilor Haas.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And this will be reported out favorably this evening at our regular meeting. That concludes the public safety meeting for September 16, 2013.